Have you ever bought an amplifier after watching glowing reviews, connected everything exactly the way you thought you should, and still felt something was missing? If you're using the AIYIMA A07 Pro, you're definitely not alone. This amplifier has become one of the most talked about budget hi-fi amps because of its incredible value. But here's the thing. Many people never hear what it's actually capable of. Not because the amplifier is bad, but because of a few simple setup mistakes that quietly hold it back. In this video, we're going to look at 5 common mistakes that may be hurting your sound quality and, more importantly, how to avoid them. Some of these fixes won't cost you a single dollar, yet they can make a surprisingly noticeable difference to your listening experience. So before you spend money on new speakers, a new DAC, or even another amplifier, let's make sure you're getting the very best out of the one you already own. Let's get started. Mistake number 1. Many people buy the AIYIMA A07 Pro after watching reviews that describe it as one of the best budget amplifiers available today. They connect it to their speakers, play their favorite song, and within minutes they start wondering why it doesn't sound as impressive as everyone promised. The bass feels weaker than expected, the dynamics seem flat, and the overall presentation lacks the energy they were hoping for. The interesting part is that in many cases, the amplifier isn't actually the problem. One of the most common reasons behind disappointing performance happens before the first song even starts. The power supply plays a much bigger role than many new users realize. Depending on the adapter being used, the amplifier may not always perform the same way under demanding listening conditions. That doesn't mean every larger power supply automatically produces better sound, but using a power supply that matches the amplifier's intended operating range can help it deliver performance it was designed for. Think of it like a sports car. If it's running with the wrong fuel or poor maintenance, it may still drive, but you won't experience its full capability. The same principle applies here. Many buyers focus only on the amplifier itself, while completely overlooking the power source feeding it. This is why two people can own the exact same amplifier, yet describe completely different listening experiences. The amplifier hasn't changed, but the rest of the system has. Whenever someone says this amplifier sounds weak, harsh, or underwhelming, it's worth looking at the entire setup before blaming the amplifier itself. Mistake number 2. One of the biggest misconceptions in home audio is believing that any amplifier can get the best out of any pair of speakers. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. Every speaker has its own characteristics, and the interaction between an amplifier and speakers has a significant influence on the final listening experience. Some speakers are relatively easy to drive, while others demand more from the amplifier, especially when listening at higher volumes or in larger rooms. That doesn't automatically make one speaker better than another. It simply means different combinations can produce different results. Another common mistake is expecting a compact desktop amplifier to fill a very large room at high listening levels. Even an excellent amplifier performs best when it's used within the type of setup it was designed for. The goal isn't to chase the biggest numbers or the most expensive equipment. It's to build a system where every component works well together. When the amplifier, speakers, room, and source are all working as a team, the improvement can be far greater than simply buying more expensive gear. Mistake number 3. Many people spend hundreds of dollars upgrading amplifiers without ever questioning where their speakers are actually placed. Ironically, moving your speakers just a few inches can sometimes make a more noticeable improvement than replacing your amplifier. If the speakers are too close together, pushed into corners, or sitting directly against the wall, the stereo image becomes narrow and instruments begin to blend together. Instead of hearing a wide soundstage, everything feels like it's coming from a single point. The AIYIMA A07 Pro can only reproduce the signal it's given. If the speakers aren't positioned correctly, no amplifier can magically create a spacious, realistic soundstage. A simple stereo triangle is one of the easiest improvements you can make. Ideally, both speakers should be the same distance from your listening position, creating a balanced left and right channel. Small adjustments in spacing and toe-in angle can dramatically improve imaging, instrument separation, and vocal clarity. Even the direction your speakers face matters. A slight toe-in toward the listening position often produces a more focused center image, while excessive toe-in or completely straight placement may change the overall presentation, depending on your room. Experimenting with placement costs nothing, yet it's one of the most overlooked upgrades in home audio. Mistake number 4. Another common mistake happens long before the amplifier does any work at all. Many people judge the quality of an amplifier while playing heavily compressed music from low-quality sources. If the original recording lacks detail, the amplifier simply reproduces those limitations more accurately. That's why some listeners expect miracles from new hardware, but never consider the quality of the music they're actually playing. A good amplifier cannot restore information that was never present in the recording. Higher quality streaming services, lossless music files, or well-mastered recordings often reveal more detail, cleaner vocals, and better instrument separation. Before deciding that your amplifier isn't performing well, compare the same song from different quality sources and listen carefully to the difference. The goal isn't to chase expensive equipment or complicated setups. It's about allowing every part of the system, from the music source to the amplifier and finally to the speakers, to work together. When each component contributes its best, the listening experience becomes far more engaging than any single upgrade alone. Mistake number 5. One of the most overlooked mistakes has nothing to do with cables, speakers, or music quality. Instead, it comes down to where the amplifier is placed. Because the AIYIMA A07 Pro is compact, many owners slide it into a tight shelf, stack other devices on top of it, or leave very little space around the chassis. It looks clean, but it isn't always ideal for airflow. Like most amplifiers, the A07 Pro generates heat during normal operation, especially during longer listening sessions or when driving speakers at higher output levels. Good ventilation helps electronics operate within their intended temperature range. Heat is a normal part of amplifier operation, but trapping that heat inside a closed cabinet isn't the same thing. Giving the amplifier open space around the top and sides allows air to circulate naturally. It's a simple change that can help maintain stable operation during extended listening sessions. Many people spend money chasing accessories or unnecessary upgrades while overlooking the basics. Before changing your amplifier, DAC, or speakers, make sure the equipment you already own has the best possible environment to perform. Think of your audio system as a complete chain rather than a collection of separate products. Every part matters. Your music source, amplifier, speakers, room, and speaker placement all work together. Improving one weak link often creates a bigger difference than replacing an expensive component. The AIYIMA A07 Pro has earned its reputation because it delivers impressive value when it's paired with the right setup. If your system isn't sounding the way you expected, don't assume the amplifier is a problem. Start by checking the fundamentals. Small improvements in setup can often produce results that are immediately noticeable without spending another dollar. Many enthusiasts focus on buying the next upgrade, but experienced listeners know that careful setup is often where the biggest improvements are found. Once the basics are right, you'll have a much better understanding of what your system is truly capable of. The AIYIMA A07 Pro has earned its reputation for a reason. When it's matched with the right speakers, the right source, and a well-planned setup, it can deliver performance that surprises a lot of people for its price. The important takeaway from today's video is that better sound isn't always about buying more expensive equipment. Sometimes, it's simply about avoiding the small mistakes that prevent your system from performing at its best. If you found this guide helpful, make sure to subscribe to Zyno, because we'll be covering more amplifier setup guides, common audio mistakes, and practical fixes that help you get better sound without wasting money. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.